Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about emergency preparedness. We talk about just different emergency crises that might come your way. Really, I just talk about what me and my family do, and hopefully that sparks some interest from you or some ideas or different things that you can do to still get ready. Okay, so today I want to talk about food and how, this huge food battle that I feel like we are fighting right now, right? You turn around, if it's not one thing, it's another thing, right? We're dealing with so many aspects when it comes to regulations and different aspects of fighting the food concerns, the concerns that we have about the future, right? Not having food, shortages, empty shelves, famine, globally, right? Not just us, but us as in the United States, but everybody, right? And preparing for that, preparing for a catastrophic event that will shut down the supply chain, and you having enough at your home to be able to get through and weather through that, right? You talk about battles. We are fighting inflation like crazy, right? So inflation for food, literally saying, I will no longer buy X, Y, and Z because of the price, because the price hurts your soul so much, or more likely hurt your wallet so much that you literally have to say, we are not going to eat that item anymore. We're not going to buy it anymore. There's certain restaurants and places we cannot, I'm not going to say we cannot, but we will not eat at anymore because the prices are just too high. So it's an inflation thing. Okay, so it's the battle of inflation. It's the battle of recalls. You turn around every single day, there's another recall. Oh, got to check this supply. I feel like I'm checking supplies a lot lately and going back and trying to figure out if I've bought something. And to be honest, there's zero fear. I mean, half the time I don't even want to check it. I don't even care, right? I'm to the point where it's happening so much that it's like, how can this even be true that so much food is being compromised, whether it's the can, it's the packaging, it's the food, it's the this, it's the that, right? It's just too much, right? Okay, so the recall's out of control. What else? I wrote a list, you guys. The attacks on food, we've talked about that several times, right? Different food distribution places, different aspects of growing food that have been attacked, fertilizer type plants, food type plants, anything that has to do with growing, right? We've had to deal with weather. That's another battle of farmers trying to grow crops, trying to grow food, and having to deal with drought, having to deal with fires, having to deal with flooding, flash flooding, tornadoes. I mean, you name it. That's another thing, is weather is another battle against our food that we're having to deal with. What else? I said attacks, inflation, recalls, weather, misinformation. So this whole thing with the eggs is driving me bonkers. Let me tell you a little bit of a history of the egg. From the beginning of time, we have ebbed and flowed back and forth. Scientists and food people, right? The smart people have said, the nutritionists for years back and forth on the egg. How dangerous is the egg to us? It causes high cholesterol. Don't eat it. Then we went through a phase that eggs are so good for you. Go back to eating eggs. If you eat, egg a day, it's very good for you. We've gone back and forth about the egg over the decades, century, okay, of whether it is good for us or not, healthy or not. And now it's to the extreme. It's to the, we're going to have to get rid of eggs because we're going to have to get rid of the chickens. We have to get rid of the meat. There's avian flu. It's bad. Oh, the eggs are inflated. You're paying so much for eggs. There's not enough. There's an egg shortage now. Eggs cause blood clots. There's the whole thing about, no, they're saying that because the yolks, help kill spike proteins. Whatever it is, I'm so sick and tired of the egg conversation and, the feed that we're feeding chickens and laws about getting rid of backyard chickens and because the egg is not safe and just all of this nonsense, right? And so it's just a lot of misinformation back and forth about different food products, about the egg, right? The egg is the thing right now, but that happens all the time. You have this whole thing about what's being put in our food, bugs in our food, different things to take out things, right? Different products, right? You have all these different types of people that like to eat different types of food, gluten free and this free and that free. And I understand that to an extent, because people are like, we have a lot of stuff that you have to fight. Another thing we have to fight is all the preservatives that are in everything. Everything has something in it, right? And it's just insane to think that you're trying to just eat, right? And you're constantly having this battle of health, your overall health, and the things that you're putting in your mouth, and how bad are they negatively affecting your body, right? And that is horrible, right? That in itself is not good. We all know, it's very, very expensive to eat healthy. If you want to eat salads and eat your fishes and your shrimps and your salmon and you want to, your turkey and your this and that, you want to have a variety of a healthy diet, fresh fruits and vegetables, that costs money. And mind you, that's on a whole other topic of why it's like that, okay? But it is a part of control. It feeds into a whole other system of health in general, big pharma, all this stuff. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole here, okay? That's the stuff we save for Patreon, okay? But it is ridiculous. We say all the time, what's hard for me is I've been doing this for decades, and I've always been a strong contender of, you've got to stack the food. You've got to stockpile the food. You got to stockpile the cans. You got to preserve food. You got to stockpile food. Do it, right? And I'm not against you getting canned foods. However, we're getting to the point where you almost can't trust anything anymore, right? Because it's too much stuff to track, right? It's too much stuff to track. So maybe you only had to think about this one thing. What's the products, what is the preservatives in the food? Maybe, what can you do to battle that? But it's much more than that. It's much more than that. And the person that controls the food controls the people. I hate the fact that anything can be put into our food and we would just buy it and consume it. And so I think we really, like, how does this pertain, this whole topic I'm talking about, on people who prepare and stockpile? And I don't know about you, but I don't want to constantly be having to look 3 years of preps to see if I have something, if I've gotten something that I don't want to, might be compromised in some way, right? We're already doing that as preppers by looking at our preps, inventorying, checking for basic compromises, right? Water, condensation, something got into it, insects, whatever, right? And to think that now we have to start tracking all these numbers and everything, it's just insanity. Like just the other day with the canned meat, my first thought was like, you know what? This is horrible. I guess everybody should just start mailing me their canned Vienna sausages. I'll take them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't trust anymore everything that I'm hearing on the reasons why things are recalled. And people might look at me and be like, you're crazy. If it's recalled for a reason. Don't be stupid. And I'm not necessarily saying that. What I'm saying, though, is that I'm sick to death of it. And so how do you get around that? I think that we need to not be fearful. I think that we need to change our mindset of doing things the slow way, going back to slow food, no more fast food. I've always had this thought, if somebody wanted to attack us, it would be so easy to just infiltrate our food system. Whether that's the fast food system, it would be just extremely easy, right? Because a lot of people just sit there and say, bring me my food. And they're so trusting with who is making that, who is delivering that. Those folks that are making it maybe can be trusted, but who can wherever they're getting the food, can it be trusted? Has it been compromised? There's just so many layers to that I'm not very trustworthy, that aren't trustworthy anymore. And there's so many variables of the ways that food is being attacked from all different sides that I'm over it. I'm going to be seriously moving forward with slow cooking, individual ingredients, going to a way of we need to start just making our own food. Make your own bread. Get used to that. Making your own tortillas, making your own soups. If you do not have a pressure canner right now, you need to go get a pressure canner. You need to go spend the money. There's some out there that are $100 and something. They go all the way up to $400 or $500. They all work, okay? I haven't had anybody that's like, this didn't work, right? Get you a pressure canner and start making your own soups and making them shelf stable. This is, you are making your own food, so you know exactly what's in it. You know exactly what seasonings, preservatives, whatever you've put in it. Put in clean, whole foods, whole ingredients. Pressure can it, put it on your shelf, put your dates on it, whatever, okay? And you've got to start doing this, right? Can you continue to do cans? Absolutely. But I'm starting to shift to the point of, I just don't know how much longer that can be a viable, trustworthy thing. I just, it's like the water, right? We filter all our water in this house. We don't just drink it willy-nilly from the tap. Has nothing to do with the taste and where we live and any of that. It just has to do with the fact that I don't want to get caught with our pants down one day with something coming through the line that doesn't get caught in time, and then my family suffers for it, right? That's kind of how I'm getting with the food. Now, you might say, well, you could do whole ingredients, you can do that stuff. And one of those things could be tampered with and you're doing your thing, making your stuff, but it's almost like whole picture. How can I attack as much as I can at one time? And I think if we get back to basic ingredients, you can help some of that by where you buy stuff from, buying locally, finding local people to buy your meat. Maybe it's a little bit more, but maybe it's a little bit more trustworthy, okay? And higher quality for sure, right? And so, and less hands, right? Less governmental, different entities, different variables along the chain that are touching possibly that piece of meat that by the time it gets to you, you have no idea what has happened, right? And who got their hands on it or for whatever reason, right? And so I like the idea of going back to slow food, getting stuff from, it's just like people that are like, oh, I only want to buy in America, right? American made or locally made, right? I only want to shop locally, my mom and pop type places. It's the same thing. Think about that with your meat. Find your local places. If you're in the city, you might have to venture out a little bit, right? But I'm venture that you could do it, okay, if you wanted to. And doing whole products, preserving your food yourself, making your meals yourself, making your soups yourself, your chilies yourself, all the things that you love to eat that you buy in a can, that we do buy in a can to be convenient, to stack, that will last for years and years, right? It's the same thing, pressure canning. But you've made it and you have a little bit more say of what is involved with that process, okay? I just can't stress it. Everything, removing preservatives. I'm not really this super, this has chemicals in it. I'm not really that type of person, but I am pretty earthy in the sense of like, I do want to get to more a natural thing that has less, putting less stuff into our mouths, less stuff on our skins, less stuff. There's nothing wrong with making homemade laundry soap, homemade cleaners, making your bread, making your things and making things in a slower way, okay? Because one, it's just like gardening or doing something outside with your hands, right? Or on a project. It feels good to know that with your hands, you made something, you developed something, you have a skill at doing something, and love went into that, time went into that. And hopefully you're doing that in a calm way, right? I like gardening because you can only move as fast as the garden will allow you to move, right? It's a very slow paced type of, it's a lot of work, but it's very chill, right? Oftentimes I love the growing season because I'm just out there every day, just walking about, pulling some weeds here, loving on this, pruning on this, watering this, right? Mulching this, right? Planting some more of this, right? And so it's very calming. And I kind of want, that's how our food system should be. That's how we should, as preppers, as homesteaders, as whatever you call yourself, as patriots, baby, is take control of our food, okay? Take control of the way we are making it, getting it, preserving it, have more of a say of that. I'm not saying to stop stockpiling cans, to stop stockpiling food. I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm saying that these food battles are coming from so many directions that we have to be careful, because I've always had a fear of our food system, just kind of on the surface of like, it can't be trusted, but yet we're out there buying the things, we're buying the foods, we're buying the things. But I think we might get to a point where we go too far and all of a sudden we've ingested something that we're not supposed to ingest that could be our demise. Okay. And a lot of people would argue already that there's stuff in our food that's already too late, right? Nanotech and different things like that. And again, I digress. That's a whole other rabbit hole, right? But I think we need to take these food battles, these things that we're battling, and learn how to do it, right? Learn how to grow your own food, even a few vegetables, a few fruits. That is something that you can then take and say, I have now, and I don't have to buy that from the store anymore. We have chickens, we're just getting eggs. Are we getting a lot of eggs right now? No, because they just started. However, it's a beautiful thought thinking, I'm never buying a store-bought egg again. And a lot of people are like, no, you're going to buy them if you want to do something. Maybe you want to do, deviled eggs or something, right? I'm not doing it, okay? We're just not going to do it. We are going to stockpile these eggs. I'm excited for us to get more chickens so we can get more eggs. But I'm not doing that anymore, right? Experimenting with bread, trying to find the best recipes right now, right? For sandwich bread, for example, is what I'm working on, because I want to find my favorite recipe that I'm going to actually write down and put in the recipe box that will be my go-to forever. And then you make that, and that's your bread. And then you're going from a bread that has maybe 4 or 5 ingredients down from however many, the regular bread has 10 plus ingredients in it, right? That we have no idea the ramifications that this food is doing to our bodies, right? It's just insane that the food, our food circle, our food, it's getting out of control on so many different fronts. And I don't know about you, but I can't handle it anymore. I'm over it. I don't want to fight this inflation. I don't want to fight this recalls and checking numbers and barcodes and stuff all the time. I don't want to fight preservatives and wondering what's in my food. And is there, it says it has this, but is there, pieces of rat in there, or insects, or I think I'm eating meat and it's not meat, or whatever. There's so many battles going on that I'm over it. All these attacks, the misinformation. I just want to slow it down a little bit, get back to a more natural way of doing things, right? Think about grid down when you do this. I told hubby the other day, a lot of people do this regularly, but they, pour over coffee, right? That's how they make their coffee. And there's no electricity involved, right? Maybe there is to get the water pot hot, but if you've got a wood stove, right, you can heat it up there. And then you do your pour out coffee. I was like, we should just do that and just start doing that and just get in the, rhythm of doing it slower. And of course, hubby was like, nah, baby, I want my coffee now, right? And I could understand that, but I'm really of the mindset that we need to get back to enjoying things, to slowing it down so that our bodies are not moving at this pace that they want us to move at. And our food it's going to continue to have this negative impact circling it, because they have to control the food in order to control us, right? And there's all types of stuff coming down the pipeline in the ways that they're going to be able to control us with food. And that's why we prepare. That's why you stockpile. That's why you learn to grow your own food, depend on yourself, raise your own animals, do whatever it is you can do to distance yourself from the direction that is going, okay? I don't know. I just felt some type of way. I actually had a whole different video I was going to do today on just these top foods that I think that you need to be concerned with that are going to continue to go up and or go away. And they're such important topics, or so important type foods, that it's like, these are important things that you must continue to prep. But I didn't do that. I really started thinking about the food battles and the different aspects of the way that we are struggling and fighting when it comes to our food cycle and food that we buy and the way it's made and all the people that touch it and the preservatives that are in it and the misinformation circling around it and the recalls. Everything in their mother is being recalled, and it's like, how do we even have any of these companies up if there's so many stinking recalls coming up? And are they even real recalls in the sense of, is it really something that's detrimental? You know, I was about to go left there. I was about to go left right now. I just don't trust it. And I think that the longer that we continue to stay in that circle, to stay in that, inside that food bubble that they want us, that we're in right now as a country, the harder it's going to be later, right? You're not going to be able to break free from it. You're possibly already going to, you know, have something in you, gone too far with whatever. I just think that we need to get to a slower vibe when it comes to our connection with the food we eat and the things that we put in our body. That is all. So I hope you guys are having a great week. It's super rainy here. It's super windy. I'm not going to say super windy. It's about 20 miles per hour, which is not like crazy storm level. But it's high for just an average every day, right? And we have those pretty often here. So I have to do my roundabouts, make sure nothing's blowing around, everything's still secured down, check on the chickens, give them their morning snack. And so I will talk to you guys tomorrow in the next video. All right. Take care. Bye.